3.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Big Idea Podcast. We're honored to have Michael Frazier on today. Michael, how are you, sir? How was your New Year celebration or lack thereof? And tell us.
Yeah, New Year was pretty good. I mean, I stare out at the Lake Michigan with Navy Pier. So, number one, nobody cries for me, and unless they're down south, and then they all cry for me. I used to live on Marco Island, and I moved to Chicago about a year ago. So, it was really good. It was beautiful. We had a good night, clear skies for some fireworks. So, it was awesome.
Oh, good. Well, Michael, thank you for joining us on this Friday, our first episode of 2026. We've been chatting. Happy New Year to everybody out there. It's going to be an interesting year in 2026, but we keep on surrounding ourselves with some really smart people. I happen to have met Mike Frazier. I don't know, I think he reached out to me, says, I think you're on a pathway that I've got some answers to. And we've been speaking, and I'm looking forward to hearing about Mike. Give us a little bit of your background. But let's talk about, get into meat and potatoes of how we can actually help dealers today compete where they need to. So with that, Mike, welcome to our show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So I have a kind of a varied background. I started as a radio and television broadcaster in the military. Did that for 4 years during the first Gulf War. Got out, and my first job was at WNDU television, thus the four horsemen that you see behind me. So I'm a Notre Dame fan, disappointed Notre Dame fan this year. But I then went into the sales side because, all the guys in sales were driving BMWs and leaving at 5 o'clock, and I was driving a Plymouth Sundance, but I was on air. Yay me. Couldn't make rent, but I was on air. So I joined sales. I moved into radio and TV and newspaper sales, actually, with one of the last of its kind in South Bend Tribune, which was one of the only, aside from, I think, the Tribune company that had radio, TV, and newspaper in the same market, right? So I got to learn all three of those media at once and how to sell them because I was pretty good at selling to car dealers. About a year after I started working for the radio conglomerate, I got knocked on the door by Autotrader.com. This was in 2006, and they were interested in finding people who had relationships with local dealers so they can move the money over to digital. And I had about an 8-year career with Autotrader.com, interrupted by 6 months running a dealership down in South Florida. Everybody should do that once in their life. My wife had the what if we conversation about 5 months in. What if we stay married and you get out of retail? And so, but I learned a heck of a lot. I had been in the software development side, and I was one of the first guys in radio and TV to build websites for radio stations, and I built them out of necessity to help keep my radio news department alive. And then when I went into the sales side, I started selling that online content. So for me, helping dealers learn how to become relevant online was a natural transition, made a lot of sense. It's kind of funny because everything old is new again. What I do today at Autoply is I actually help local media companies and local dealers work together to create convergent media, right? The stories take the experts out of the service lane, out of the F&I box, and out of the sales floor, and put them in the community connected to the local media companies so that they can amplify each other as opposed to compete with or against each other, which is really what I found was happening with a lot of these national third-party marketplaces, right? They were essentially extracting wealth from the local market and extracting ad dollars and adding very little back in aside from leads, which you were basically giving them your inventory to create a new place for people to go instead of your own website. It just didn't really sit well with me after I did it for 8 years. So I'm now kind of the anti-marketplace guy, I guess, if you will. We are creating platforms now at AutoPly in the local communities where we're tying the local media company. And we have a deep relationship now with Gannett Media, also known as USA Today Co. They just changed their name. And so we're creating localized platforms under a concept I created called Community Connected Commerce. Community Connected Commerce by design is not a marketplace. It is the idea of taking the experts in the dealership and having them write stories and blogs and pages of content with quotes that end up on the local USA Today online newspaper. And then also having those same quotes written in a separate piece of content that ends up on the dealer's website, and creating backlinks between all of those and a localized version of a market that we call vehicles for sale near Detroit, vehicles for sale near Indianapolis, vehicles for sale near Hartford, right, coming soon. And so we're rolling out these markets with hyper-localism, and the whole goal really is to bring the dealership back in control of their own brand in their own backyard, because that has been eroding for too long, in our view. When you're giving somebody else your ad dollars to take your inventory and put it on Google Ads with their name on it, you've crossed a line I just don't understand.
Not to mention the down pressure from the OEM,
Yeah.
where a lot of times they're grabbing the proprietorship of your customers and your brand.
Yep. And so, one of the things I learned early on in my career is a little concept called TOMA, right? Top of mind awareness. And as goes top of mind awareness goes market share. Well, what happens when we start taking all of our ad dollars and giving it to a third party marketplace to promote their brand in our backyard? Ours starts to erode. People start remembering their name and forgetting ours. And so for us, whether your name is Ziegler or Feldman or, you pick the local family name that we all grew up with, we think it's important that those be the names that people do come to know, trust, and remember. So that's really our focus right now. And for that, we built a lot of content and a lot of systems, right, to help make transparency kind of the connective tissue between those things.
Right. Well, Michael, I got a question for you. As far as the city or near city, you're buying those domains.com. Is that?
Yeah. So we basically own the .com version of those domains in every city that has any relevance to large enough numbers of people for there to be a concentration of OEM brands in the market, right?
Okay. My question is different cities have different populations. Typing in, or that it's an automatic drop down as far as your Google search or something.
Right.
Car dealers in Hartford near me, something like that. Have you done the research on how many people a month are searching for those near me cities?
Yeah, the number one term typed into the internet is, right, cars for sale near me around inventory, right? And that's pretty much no matter what city you go to, that's the number one term. Why didn't I call it cars for sale near? Well, number one, that's already out there, right, as a brand and as a name. But number two, we didn't want it to be just cars, right? We understood that a lot of our dealerships, right, because they've had to, are getting into RVs. They're getting into ATVs. They're selling things outside of strictly OEM automotive brands now. And so we wanted to be more inclusive. And so that's why the vehicles for sale near. But yeah, the for sale near, here's the really important concept from an SEO and a search ranking and now an AI ranking perspective more than anything. The important concept is everybody else made their name a noun in competition with your dealership website name. Okay? which means they've got to teach your local consumers, your listeners, right, viewers, their name in order for them to bring any value to you at all, right? You've got to get people over to AutoTrader, Cars.com, CarGurus in order to bring them back to your store. Right?
Third party, yeah.
Third party, right? We did not want to become another competitor to the local dealer's URL, which is why I didn't choose a noun. I chose a prepositional phrase, right? We chose to be vehicles for sale near, something somebody types in already. And the value of that is that as we start creating content, the number one thing AI needs today, and it's kind of funny because, I started in radio, TV, and newspapers, it needs citation authority. I can't think of anyone who has better citation authority than the newspaper that's been in town for 150 years.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. What I was getting at is last September, we thought we had the tiger by the tail. I was like, wow, we've got this AI keyword finder. Mm-hmm. And we were starting to look up used cars Tampa. Mm-hmm. And we found the third parties that were ranking for that term. It's about 6,600 people each month typing in that term. Yep. And no, not one dealership in Tampa is on that page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what should really concern the living heck out of everybody. Right? It is. We gave up the real estate.
Yep. And the real estate, it's not gone if you have the right tactics and the right tools to put you there, but they don't understand that that's a monthly, a monthly succession of 6,600 people for that one keyword a month.
Yep.
Come on, guys, wake up.
But the thing that is being missed is that I think that what I'm finding is that marketing in the past used to be like with a machine gun or a shotgun, and it was shot everywhere, and things went all over the place. But now with AI and what we're learning and the visibility of how to track the customer and where they've been is now such a roadmap that dealers just need to recapture and come up with a new, I guess, a new net and a new way of catching. And the thing is that now it is their websites, their local community, their marketing. There's some people are doing unbelievably well with it, and they're winning. But then you have people that are spending money, and they don't even know what results they're getting based on the money. So it seems like, what I'm listening, it's too good to be true, but it's too good to be true, but it's done correctly the first time. You're going to start capturing your own first-party leads, and you're not going to be held hostage by these third-party providers, but dealers have to make the move, and dealers have to start connecting the unconnected, and the funnels should fill up pretty quick once they connect everything.
So what's interesting about that, right, is that the expertise that Google has always required has always existed in the brick and mortar stores locally. And Google has, since its inception, right, I started building news stories that I was hoping Google would pick up on in 1999, 2000 as a news director. And one thing Google has not wavered on in 25 years, it has to be the best local answer or it doesn't have a reason to exist. Just ask Yahoo, right? The reason Yahoo's not here is because they leaned into letting the advertiser drive the content and the answer, which means that I'm searching for a Ford F-150 and all I keep getting is these, non-Ford F-150 brands thrown at me because they spent more money to buy those terms. That was not a recipe for success. Google had the recipe for success. Give me what I want as the encyclopedic local answer. And the more right it is more often, the more often Google, wins. Now, Google created then the quality score, right? So that they could attach the relevancy to the ad unit, which was the brilliant move that made them who they are today. But with the way that AI works now, there are people like Mark Cuban who are talking about the fact that, media will be the first thing to go the next time we have a downturn in the economy because, it's all centralized publishers and anonymous audiences and ad inventory is sold on impressions and. I beg to differ. Our model with USA Today and their network is local operators become the influencers. Stories get tied to real transactions that are happening in the local market. Media gets tied to economic outcomes, not clicks. And AI gets used for distribution and reinforcement, not noise. And the trust between the local news, sports, and information outlets in your market and the local experts that have been there for 25 years as techs at the local Toyota dealership, that's what the infrastructure will be that propels everything forward and brings everything old. I use this a lot with guys when I'm talking to my folks at USA Today. Everything old is news again, guys. That's the good news.
We've had plenty of guests in the last few weeks, and that's plenty old is new, and it's connecting the dots. It's getting the noise out. There's been so much noise with AI and noise with all these new revolutions. It's not, we had another guest on a few weeks ago, David Rozek. I mean, this guy is an AI. I mean, he knows his stuff. Some of the stuff that he does, it's amazing. But it's controlled. So he was, worked in dealerships as marketing, and now he has a skill that can help dealers get their own leads because he knows how to connect the dots the right way. And
this ought to be about building your own first-party data lake.
Yeah. I mean, that's what that's. And as we keep on saying what I was going to say, David Rozek talks about a brand theater, and that the guests and the dealership is the players, the actors and actresses. And he's doing a wonderful job, and I'm watching what he's doing, and that's what it is. And more that you see the customer that is a single mom and bought a nice little gas savings car. That's what the customers who are searching for, that's what they're looking for. And I'm glad to be hanging around with a bunch of smart people that know how the digital marketing works. Because as I used to say, I was talking to Mike, we laughed, is that in the 90s, at Herb Chambers, we owned the back page of the Hartford Courant. And maybe this number's way outlandish and it may not be that right, but I used to think we spent $90,000 to have that back page on the Hartford Courant Saturday morning, and Joe Caldrillo would handle that. And it was amazing how much money we were spending on advertisements.
And I'll bring you full circle, Jared. Here's what's happened now. That Wednesday call that needed to be made to set up that Sunday ad is back, okay? We're not setting up the Sunday ad. Folks at USA Today now and their network, Detroit Free Press, right, which is one of their publications. So when you go to Vehicles for Sale Near Detroit, you will see a news section on there, right? vehiclesforsaleneardetroit.com, you'll see a section called the Local Market Insider. And that's where we're letting the experts at the local Toyota dealership, in quotes, tell us stories that end up as quotes from them in the local Detroit news subdomain, right? And so we're bringing the experts back to the people and the people back to the experts again.
Yeah.
And the experts aren't somebody in some marketplace based out of another city.
It's a 25-year Ford technician that's been working on that vehicle for 20, and they know which ones were good, which ones were built in the wrong part of the country, and not to get that one. That's where it is. And it's the service advisors and it's the service managers. I mean, that's what everyone does. And if they would look back, I mean, if it wasn't for those people, the last 10 years, there'd be more dealerships out of business.
Well, and look, the F&I guys have a voice that has to be heard today because cars are $50,000 new with an $800 payment. Nobody can stomach or even begin to put into a family budget.
Yeah. And we talk about it all the time. F&I needs to get back into the service lane. That's where F&I, it was removed and kept out of the service lane, and it was never able to work. Now it's a necessity.
It also belongs in sales, though, Gary. It really does, because one of the things we're doing, I own a patent, right? So there are 3 core products AutoPly brings to this conversation.
Oh, good.
From a technology, from a technology perspective, we have the platform, right, which we refer to as community connected commerce. That's vehicles for sale near cityname.com. Okay. Our media partner is USA Today in that case, and all of their networks and their individual local papers. Within that, we built 3 primary solutions. We built one called My Right Rate, WRITE, which is giving you the ability as a consumer inside of our platforms and on the dealer's website, if they choose to use us instead of a Capital One Navigator, which they should, because our system, unlike Capital One Navigator, takes all 12 of the dealers' banks and uses them to determine what your pre-approved, no impact on your credit score payment is on any vehicle you're searching.
So that's the soft pull, no full pull, but you have the data that you can give accurate information back.
I'm letting them know what they can and can't buy on that site, right? You at the dealership get to learn what, before you start working the lead, let's at least know, can this person buy a car, and what kind of car can they buy?
What's their credit score, where they're going to get hung?
Where are we, right? We've got to be able to paper it.
Yep.
But on top of that, we tie that into our second solution, which is called Max Allowance. And Max Allowance is a trade solution, unique, unlike anything out there, because we actually put a scented bait in front of the fish that are under the log that we want to pull out from the log. In other words, these are the people who own the F-150s in their driveways that CarMax has been going after and Carvana is stealing. They're taking the people we sold cars new 3 and 4 years ago, and they're
13%,
pulling them over.
13% market they're grabbing.
Yeah, right? And the only reason they're doing it is because they're the only ones in SEO writing pages and blogs and content around 2022 Honda Accord. We forgot that 2022 Honda Accords existed at Honda dealers. We don't even talk about them. We don't write about them. We forget that we sold them. And these guys are picking up all those search terms because we've left them alone.
Yep.
Right? Makes no sense to me. So when we built our platform, number one, I own a trademark to the name Max Allowance, which is unfortunate for folks in certain Max keywords, because I can now run ads and do, specific keyword strategies where I can go this versus this. It's Coke versus Pepsi. It's Max versus Max, but at least you're getting another version of what Max is. It's one of the reasons we did it. The bigger reason we built Max Allowance is because we actually let the customer tell us a story of their car from their driveway. And based on the story they tell us and the condition and disclosure information they provide ahead of time, we're able to tell them, look, if that really is the Ford F-150 with 150,000 miles that looks bubble wrap new like the day it left the showroom, we're offering 3,000 more than anybody will offer in the market. Now, when it gets to the dealership, it has to be that, obviously. But we're not leaning into, I'm sorry, Mr. Customer, I can't give you more than this because that's what the auction says it's worth. Nobody wants to have that conversation with you, and they don't want you to have that conversation with them. Don't tell me, the customer, your problem with the auction and why you can't give me more for my trade. Tell me, look, this is what I can retail it for. If it's really in this condition, we pay more for cars in that condition. Bring it in. The third product that we have that we kind of tie into this whole thing is called My Payment Power, and that's where we bring the F&I office online. So we have a patent. We're the only ones allowed to put a weekly over a monthly payment on a search result page or a vehicle display page. And that's any big ticket item, car, boat, RV, right? That's what our patent covers. You will very soon see the first iterations of a weekly is greater than monthly payment. Because if we have people make micro payments, $200 a week out of their account, they end up making 13 payments in 12 months. Now everyone's heard this. There's a better way to repay? What is that, right? Well, there are 13 months in a 12-month calendar year. The bank has been hiding it from us from the inception of term loans. We don't hide it anymore. We actually put it up front on the SRPs and VDPs. And then our max allowance program and our My Right rate are tied into that single solution that dealers can participate in. And if you want to know how to solve the problem we've got with upside down in this industry right now, you can keep talking about 100-month terms, right? You can keep talking about, 15-year car loans and whatever else has been spattered about in Washington, D.C. recently. Or you can start saying the right way to repay is by using the calendar as your ally and having people set themselves up for success, because the average customer coming in with $7,000 upside down problem right now, the right answer is let's set you up for a proper repayment plan. So we do that. It's automated. We automate and we optimize, and it's the local dealers teaching their local people how to properly set up the better way to repay.
It's the old buy saver method. I had a mortgage years and years ago on a rental property I had where I used that. Not to mention that if you break it down weekly, it doesn't look so unpalatable.
Yeah, it doesn't scare them, right? And the reality is I want the car, right, with the features that I need for safety for my family. But the problem is that all of those features come on the most expensive trim levels. And, we looked at our family budget. We can't do $800 a month. Could you do $200 a week? Well, maybe. Same number, but to your point, Larry, psychologically it's different. And then when you explain to them that if we set you up for repaying this way, you'll actually knock 7 months off of the term of the loan. So your 84-month loan turns into a 76-month repayment plan. That's the right way to approach this. We didn't do biweekly, which you've all heard the names and the things associated with biweekly are not so palatable in our industry. We went weekly, and we do not charge a $400 join the club fee, right? Our approach is very different. There's a weekly $395 fee attached to every $200 payment that we take out if it's an $800 car loan, okay? And that makes it easier to understand, more palatable, and we're not, having to grease the hands of your used car manager, your new car manager, and your general manager $50 each in order to, make them push the program, because my system allows me to put it on every search result page and vehicle display page the night before they come into the dealership. So in our world, the customer's coming in with their lips already loaded for this better way to repay. That's the right way to solve the upside down problem that COVID created. In our view.
Makes sense. What's the easiest way? Because all three of the programs you mentioned make complete sense to me, and I know they do to Mike and Gary. What's the best, easiest way for dealers to get a hold of you so they can engage you with these great programs?
Yeah, so we're going through local IQ primarily as we go around the country. So if you have a local IQ rep, contact them, get in touch with them. That's my preference, is that we work through our partners. The reason is I want to stay focused on the technology and the technology build. Local IQ is an amazing group of people that understand in-store customer service, right? They're basically the digital arm of Gannett for Automotive. That would be the best advice, is get in touch with your local IQ rep and let's, get some conversations started. Not every part of our program may be right for you. It doesn't have to be. Right? But everybody in a local dealership needs to start understanding that you can and should be moving your dollars out of national third-party placement into a more hyper-localized platform that helps build your brand and reintroduce your name more consistently to the local market.
And I think everybody will agree that dealers have been shooting at the wrong target for decades.
Yeah.
The target was moved for them, right? And we all went over there, right? I mean, me included. I was a dealer. We were kind of lemmings to, go over and follow. Hey, this Auto Trader thing said I can sell cars 10, 15, 20 states away. And you can. It's still fundamentally true. 80% of your sales still happen within 20 miles of your dealership. How much of your ad budget is going to things that work that way? And the answer is not enough.
Not to mention, it's not that easy to grab service dollars, and fixed ops is crucial when you're selling 20 states away.
Right. Yeah, 20 states away, you're going to service that truck here? I don't think so.
Hey, Michael, we try to keep this show a little tight for time, but everything you said made complete sense. Gary, Mike, and any thoughts for this fine gentleman before we roll it? We'll probably have you back on again, Mike.
Oh, yeah. No. Michael, thank you for joining us. Mike and Larry, looking forward to a wonderful new year with some plenty of guests on our podcast. I'm going to pull a plug. I'm tired of wearing this Red Sox hat. If anybody's out there watching, want to send me some swag, I'll wear it on the show so you can get some publicity.
Well, we'll start with an Autofly hat. Let's get that.
I'd send you a Career Changers hat, but according to Michael Frazier, I've got to work on my local market. You're in Connecticut, and I'm in Pennsylvania. So.
That's fair.
You're national, Larry. You're national. Come on.
I'm spending a lot of time learning about Mike's program, and I think it's meeting today's dealer where they need support. All the experts are talking about this, where it looks like these programs solve real problems, and today they're coming in, they're $7,000 upside down. So there needs to have plans. And one of the things that we keep on talking about amongst everything else is the service drive and F&I needs to be connected. They can't be on silos anymore. But I'm looking forward to learning more about local IQ because hopefully we are going to put some things together and the greater Hartford Springfield market will love this because we do have CarMax and Carvana cleaning the clocks of our dealers, and the dealers need to get better influence as opposed to the OEMs forcing them down dark pathways. Give them some opportunity to sell some used iron because that's what it's going to be in 2026. So I look forward to working with Michael. Happy New Year. Mike Larkin, any final words?
Michael, we got to get together. You and I have the same mindset. And
I've been talking about it.
Yeah, our SOPs are in line. So we got to talk.
Good.
That's excellent. Guys, thank you so much.
When you're done talking tech stuff with Mike, call me up, and I'll tell you some good jokes. We've got to stay in our lane.
I bet you will.
I love being, guest number one in 2026, guys. There's so much good to be done here. And I love the podcast. Really appreciate you guys for putting it together, keeping it fresh and making me available. Awesome.
Everybody, it's going to be a big year. Get out of the gates early. We're here to help. And looking forward to helping dealers thrive in 2026. Thanks, everybody.
Sit down and buckle up.
Stay healthy,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Take it easy.